Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome in a new YouTube tutorial. This is actually not a tutorial, but it's a breakdown for my latest artwork that I have posted on many uh, social platforms, and some people wanted to have a breakdown about it. So in this video, I'll try to break down the main aspects of these artworks, the sources of the assets that I've got, and the general ideas and tricks that I tend to use in many of my artworks. So before getting into the details, I would like to point out that whenever I try to do an artwork, I don't have a clear and an accurate picture of the last result. Like I just have a broad idea about it. Like for this artwork, what I have had as an idea is that it's a desert environment with some contrasts in the nature. Like there is some sand here, and as you can see here, some green plants. And I wanted to give it some surreal touch with this boat right here. And also there should be an uh, an element that catches the eye whenever someone sees the artwork for the first time. So uh, and also another thing that is important whenever you create your artwork is symmetry, as you can see here. When this boat is symmetrical with this oasis here, these little shrugs and little palm trees uh, perform or create some kind of symmetry with this boat, all right? And we have this tornado in the middle, which is like an axis of symmetry. Okay, so it hasn't to be really accurate, but it's just a general idea about stuff that you should incorporate in your artworks. So I did have, like I said before, I did have a clear idea about the final result, but when you start from scratch. You start developing in your artwork, and finally you try to push your artwork to its limits and create and you convert to the best version of your work. So we'll get back to the Blender file. So first of all, we'll try to start with the sand here. This is just a big plane, okay? Big plane, a subdivided plane, really subdivided one, okay? And to create these dunes, I've used proportional editing. So if we select a vertex here and click on G with the proportional editing enabled, you can click on G and you can play around with the different parts. Like here, you can zoom, you can minimize the selection, and you can create some beautiful dunes using this technique. Okay, this is just quick demonstration of how I did this. So for these shrugs and little plants, I've used a particle system. If you're not familiar with particle systems, I'll advise you to check it on YouTube. There are many Blender tutorials about that, just to have an idea about how to use particle systems. Okay, for the textures of this plane, it's a texture which I've got from my Megascans, Quixel Megascans. You just type in here in the research bar sand and beach or any keyword that you want to search for. Okay, Ripple Sand, you click on it and you download it when you sign in. So let me split this one to demonstrate how the camera works for this artwork. As you can see here, if you look to the boundaries of the camera on the left, there is only one palm tree which is included inside the camera view, but here there is three on the left and 2 on the right, and some extra space here on the bottom left. Why is this happening is because I didn't use a perspective camera, but instead I've used a panoramic camera, right? For the perspective camera, it's exactly how it looks on the left on the solid mode. But if I change from perspective to panoramic with fisheye equisolid panorama type, like uh, the camera gets wider and it includes more of the environment. Okay, so you can play around with these settings. For example, for the lens, if you set it to 0, it will give this ball type, but we don't want that, so we set it to the maximum, which is 50 degrees or 15, sorry. For the field view, you can also play with this, but this doesn't change much, I guess. So you surely can see the difference between the two. It shows when you switch from solid mode to render mode. This is just a demonstration of the perspective, the panoramic camera type that I've used here. I thought that it's the one which is convenient for this artwork. You can also use the perspective with the wide size lens here, but it doesn't give that rounded look on the edge, so I went with the panoramic, which is more convenient for me. So this is for the camera setup, which is really like it is the point that makes the difference in this artwork. For the next asset that we are going to see is the palm trees. So these palm trees, I've got them from TurboSquid. We'll leave the link in the description. They are 3ds, I guess, 3ds file. You can download them and convert them using this AnyConv website from any format to any format. I've used from 3ds to FBX, I guess, and these have worked for me. But with the textures, it may not work for you with the textures, but you can use any textures from Texture Haven. Like me here, I've used the trunk. I've used a wood texture from Texture Haven. Go to wood textures and you can use this one, for example. It doesn't have to be a palm tree trunk texture. I think that I've used this one, but something just that may work for you, because here the model is very well done, so it won't be apparent that it's not a palm tree texture, but it's fine. You can use here just a leaf texture. Same goes for the leaves of the palm tree. So you're free to play around with textures until you get something which looks like a palm tree. For the positioning of them, like I've said before, you just have to position them as they look like they create some kind of symmetry. As I've said before, I've placed 2 here and 3 in the left. All right. We move to the next one, which are the shrugs that I've got also from Megascans Quixel. There's so many resources that you can use. I guess I've used this one. You can just try with different ones and see if they are suitable for your scene or artwork. So for the shrugs, I've put them in the left so that it creates some kind of an oasis. An oasis, I think it's called like that.
Oasis.
All right, oasis. So I want to create an oasis here in the left for this big plain, big lake of water. It's very simple to create. It's just a big plane with the principal BSDF plugged in. All right, transmission to 1, transmission roughness to 1, and roughness to 0. For the next one, we will see the boat. The boat is a very simple model that I've got from Sketchfab. Okay, here it is. You can also find its link in the description. This is a set of 3 boats. It's a common creative public domain license, so you can use it for anything. I've got this one, downloaded the model, deleted these 2, and kept working with this one. Okay, placed it here in the right. All right. Next, we will talk about the tornado. The tornado is actually, I've got it from the bad normal tutorial. So for me, here is the node setup that you can study. I've played around with the settings here, so you can change the colors as you want to create interesting stuff like this. Maybe if you're interested with that, you can also play around with the roughness to change how this looks. All right, this is so interesting. Look, abstract and sci-fi look. It really depends on your application. So for me, as I've said, it's always important to have an eye-catching element in your artwork. I've tried many stuff, like I wanted to create a big tower sci-fi here, sci-fi tower, or some kind of light streaks here, but finally I've decided to go with this tornado. For the lighting, I've just used a simple world sky texture. I've played around with the sun size and the intensity of the sun, the rotation of the sun also. So you can use that until you get your suitable lighting. Okay, so I didn't use any HDRI, but I've rather used a sky texture, and I've played around, as I've said, with these settings. And for the background, plain background, I've used this big I've imported this image from Unsplash website. You can just go and type in sky, and you will have many beautiful sky textures. And I've actually got this idea from Max High. You will find the link to its tutorial on how to use these technique in the link in the description too. So this just was a general breakdown about this artwork. It wasn't really detailed because many of the things that I've mentioned, you can check them on YouTube. There are many tutorials about that. So I just wanted to focus on general compositing tricks and hints that will help you to create similar artworks. So I hope that you guys have benefited from this video, and you can always follow me on Instagram. I post sometimes tips on my stories, and you can keep up with my latest creations and artworks. I will leave the link to it in the description. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next time, inshallah.